Ever since I was really young, I always loved to collect travel souvenirs and memorabilia. Pretty much anywhere we'd go, I'd always take brochures, I'd save the room key, and for a long time I saved a lot of the little toiletries that they have in hotel rooms. But I think my favorite travel memorabilia and souvenirs that I've saved and collected over the years have been from my Walt Disney World trips. So over the summer, I went back home to Illinois, and one of my tasks was to clean up my closet so that my mom can continue to take over more of it. And so I found my box of all my memorabilia that I saved from when I was really young. And I went through and picked out some of my favorite Walt Disney World souvenirs and memorabilia. And so I thought I would share them today. One of the things that I always loved to collect was park maps. And so I have park maps here that range from 2003 up until 2011. So I'm pretty sure I have 2006, 2008, and 2009 in here as well. So I think guide maps are such a great souvenir because A, they're free, and B, they provide such a neat snapshot of what the park was like at that time. So back in 2003, for some reason I'm missing my Animal Kingdom one, but we can see that Test Track was one of the big new rides at Epcot, and Hollywood Studios was still MGM. But in terms of souvenirs and memorabilia, you can't really beat park maps. Kind of related to park maps, I also saved all of our park tickets throughout the years. So the oldest tickets that I actually have are from 1998. I'm pretty sure these would have been my parents' tickets, and these are a 6-day park hopper for the low cost of $220. Could you imagine today a 6-day park hopper for $220? I feel like at that rate, everybody would be going to Disney World. I also have my child's ticket from 2001. This was a 4-day park hopper, and this was only $148. And so looking at the back of these tickets, you can just see the price going up and up throughout the years. So if only we could get in time machines and go back to Disney in the late 90s and early 2000s, because that's when the prices were not too bad. I know quite a lot of people collect FastPasses, but I only have one, because I could never really afford to collect FastPasses in the sense that when you only get to go to Disney World every few years, you gotta use those FastPasses. You're not gonna have them left unredeemed. And so the only reason why I have this FastPass, which is a Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin Pass from 2008. It was when my high school band and choir went down to Walt Disney World over spring break. We got to perform there at Epcot, and so we had gotten a FastPass to ride Buzz Lightyear, but we instead decided to watch the Wishes fireworks, which I think was a much better decision. And so this FastPass doesn't so much remind me of the ride itself. Buzz is a fun enough ride, but I can still just remember the feeling of being there and watching the Wishes fireworks show, which even today, just listening to the Wishes soundtrack will pretty much just make me cry on demand. Some more paper items. I have a few Walt Disney World monorail co-pilot licenses. So back in the day, they used to allow people to ride in the front cab of the monorail if you were lucky enough, and they would give you a co-pilot license. And so I'm pretty sure we got these in June 2009, which was about 1 month before the fatal monorail accident, in which they no longer allowed guests to ride in the front car. And so these co-pilot licenses have been discontinued for a pretty long time. So I was really excited when I was looking through my things and I found that I actually have some of the licenses. I'm pretty sure they still have the Epcot passports today, but this was from 2003 when it was pretty much the first time that I did the World Showcase. I was about 10 years old at that time and kind of finally deemed old enough to be able to enjoy it. So like with every country, they let you put stickers in there that are kind of icons for the country, but I think the funny part is they have a note section, and for every single country I just wrote, I went to Mexico, or whatever country you're in. So you have, I went to Norway, I went to China. But it gets a little bit exciting for this one. I went to and ate at Japan. So thanks to my excellent note-taking skills back in 2003, I knew that I had lunch at the Japanese pavilion. Perhaps a slightly unusual or a little bit more strange thing to keep as a souvenir, this was our parking pass from Animal Kingdom from back in 2006. This also shows some great prices, only $9 to park for the day there. But this was cool because this was right from when Expedition Everest was opening. I think it was still in its soft opening. And I'm pretty sure we would have ridden it then when it was opening. I think I was old enough to be able to take on roller coasters like that, and in which case we would have been able to see the animatronic Yeti in its full glory. Also from 2006, we comboed our Disney trip with our first and one and only Disney cruise. We were on the Disney Wonder, I think for like a 3 or 4 day cruise, and so I saved all of the personal navigators from that. So I can look back and see all the events that were happening on our ship way back in 2006. It's just crazy to think that these are already more than 10 years old. This is not technically a souvenir from Walt Disney World, but I still wanted to include it and throw it in. So the Disney Quest at Disney World permanently closed this summer. It seemed like it was dying for a pretty long time though, but this souvenir actually comes from the even shorter-lived Disney Quest Chicago. So my mom wrote down in the corner here that this was from 2001. And so when I was looking through my things, I knew that there was a photo booth photo of myself from Disney Quest, and I could imagine it in my head. It took me about a solid 2 hours of searching through stuff in the basement until I found it. But here it is in all its glory, a super duper fun Disney Quest photo booth photo of myself from 2001. I got some cool lipstick and glasses, and even a flower crown way before they came cool. So I think nowadays this would just be the equivalent of like Snapchat or Instagram filters, which have kind of become no big deal, but back in 2001 this was some pretty awesome technology. And I'm happy to have an actual physical reminder of Disney Quest since now they are no longer in existence. I gotta end with what I think is a pretty classic souvenir for just about anybody, and that is an autograph book. Getting character autographs I think is an especially key component of doing Disney as a kid, and this was my autograph book from a 2001 trip. And again, like my 2003 Epcot passport, I think the best things about this are the annotations that I added in. So I begin this by saying, my third trip to Disney World. It's probably going to be the best trip here. And then I have a beautiful illustration of Cinderella's castle. And so for every character that we met, I annotated where we met them. So for Captain Hook, I wrote, we got our first, our spelled A-R-E, autograph at Adventureland in Magic Kingdom. We got Pooh at the Crystal Palace in Magic Kingdom. We got Mickey at the Ohana in the Polynesian. And so in addition to that, there's also a whole section of this of what I signed with characters that I didn't get to meet, what I thought their autographs would have been like. So you have a really stellar, lovely Daisy Duck autograph. I'm sure this is exactly how Daisy signs her name. Really great Mulan, really great spelling as well. And then Belle, just B-E-L-L. And then I end my autograph book with, this is the end of our vacation. We have been here for 1 week. I'll miss the Wilderness Lodge a lot, but we will be back in 2 or 3 years. The end. Then I think it's like the back of my head with a crown on it. So again, souvenirs like this aren't necessarily so important for the character autographs themselves, since pretty much any year, any place, you should be getting similar looking character autographs. But it's looking back at the fun little personal touches that for some reason I decided to leave behind. So that's some of my favorite Walt Disney World memorabilia and souvenirs from throughout the years. I'd love to know if other people like to collect things like park maps and tickets and room keys. I think they're such fun souvenirs to be able to look back on. And none of these things really cost that much. Unless if you count like the park tickets, in which case getting the park tickets does cost some. But thanks for watching! I hope you enjoyed this video, and please do consider subscribing if you'd like to see more Disney and pin related content. And I hope you have a Zip-a-Dee-Doo Disney day!